everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Coffee Break Podcast. I'm your host, Slim, my brother.
Jamo.
And we are back today with something new, actually. Something a little bit of a twist. We're going to be running through some scenarios today, as opposed to a topic that we're going to discuss. We're going to give our opinions and answer some real nice, sort of controversial questions. But before we begin, shout out to the fact that we're in Montreal, new location, we're set it up nice.
100%.
Exactly,
We're
the Coffee Break Podcast moves. We're international, baby. Let's get it. All right, so we have our moderator today who's going to be asking us our questions, and we will start this one off with...
Does pretty privilege exist?
Let me start this one off.
Okay.
Let me start. As a person who grew up their entire life without considering myself to be pretty.
Just say you're an ugly nigga. Just say you're an ugly nigga, fam. We know. It's all good. No. Yo, ugly niggas, we rejoice.
Past the year 20 and up,
okay.
I consider myself to be more on the pretty looking side, okay? But growing up, I did see that people who were perceived to be a little bit more attractive by the people had an easier life. Like, I noticed that they were more accepted into friend groups, that they were more accepted into interviews by jobs. They were more accepted into, like, even the teachers, the way that they responded to their students, even though I feel like it's a bias. It's not like the teachers are attracted to these kids, but it's easier to be nicer to people who are prettier on the eyes than to people who look.
Why is that though, man? Like, what the hell? First off, it's the example you just used too. Like, obviously the teachers aren't attracted.
No,
to
they're not attracted to
But
kids.
why the hell are they giving them preferential treatment for their looks? Like,
it's easier to be kinder to pretty people. Because, let me tell you a funny story. I remember I was in the 7th grade. Mm-hmm. I was a big kid. Remember me?
Oh, yeah, hell yeah.
I was a big kid.
Oh, hell yeah,
I was fat.
Yeah.
I was like 120 in grade 7 or something.
Damn, bro.
And then I remember...
Shout out to you now, though, because you fixed up like crazy. Look at him.
I'm on the better side now, but there was a time where obesity was my second name.
You were a balloon.
But whatchamacallit, I remember there was I was in class and there was a really pretty girl sitting beside me, right? Mm-hmm. And I remember we were supposed to share a textbook, all right? So we're sitting beside each other. Her and I are supposed to share a textbook. And I look at her like this, and I'm like, hey, can I look at page 24? She took the textbook from me.
Yeah.
She said, this is for me. This is not for you. And I remember, same scenario, switched groups. She was with a more, like the kids in the class. Okay, fine. A prettier looking guy than me. Okay?
Let's be real here.
And she was like, what page should we look at together? Okay? So I know what it's like when on the other side.
Yeah.
When you're not attractive.
No cap. That shit is real and it's hurtful, man.
But on another note,
yeah.
I remember when I grew up and I lost a little bit of weight and I looked a little bit better to people. Because prior to that, I looked like a piece of shit, but I looked a little bit better to people. Yeah. I noticed I was treated a little bit more differently. People are a little bit more kinder.
That's true.
Job interviews got a little bit more simpler. And just the way that people were approaching me in general was a little bit better, I agree. How do you feel about it? What do you think?
Let me say this too. One thing I noticed is that beauty is subjective, right? So you can be beautiful to different people at different times, right? However, that being said, there is this weird beauty standard that is in society where if you're not on the higher level to the scale, then you're not going to be as respected or treated well for some reason, right? I agree that exists, right? But that being said too, I also find that, and chime in if you disagree or agree, but I find that often, especially nowadays with the addition of social media as well, it is being severely abused to the point where people don't even have any skills.
Of course.
It is just their
100%.
identity.
100%. Like if I go on Instagram and I see, if I go on my explore page, I just see beautiful women. And then I look at what they post and now the term Instagram model is a thing. Because, and really, what Instagram model is, if there was ever a resume for Instagram model, it's big booty or very attractive. Yeah. And that's the only, and if you look at their followers, it's all men under the age of 25 who are probably in her DMs asking, what can we do to kind of, to do something about that,
And I want to take this a step further. I saw a TikTok that was going viral a couple weeks ago of this girl. She was on the bigger side, right?
Okay.
And she was invited with a group of her friends who are fairly skinnier than her to a club, right, in Miami. And in this club, there's obviously like a lineup, a queue of people that wait to get in, and then the bouncer usually lets in girls for free, right? So this girl was in the group of girls. I think she said it was like 15 girls, right? Excuse me. And when they got to the front of the line, and all her girlfriends were getting let in,
I remember you told me this.
The bouncer looked her up and down and said, "Not tonight. Not tonight." And she had a meltdown.
I remember you told me this.
A complete meltdown. She went on social media right after the fact and started complaining about how she was being mistreated, how it's not fair, how the bouncer let other girls in, and how it's not supposed to be about beauty standards and blah, 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 blah. And pretty privilege just became her right at that time. I feel like, you know?
Yeah.
And reality kind of hit her a little bit, you know?
It was privilege was taken from her, right?
Exactly.
It was like the first time in life where she was known as just one of the guys.
Exactly. And this is somebody, and I don't know too much about them, I just kind of glossed over their page.
Yeah.
This is somebody who, like we were saying, kind of lives their life thinking that I'm beautiful, that's enough. Although she's a little round, you know?
You got you.
And no hate to the people that are like this too. This is just.
Are you making fun of my people?
I'm just saying. Listen. Just saying. There's a standard in society, and people on both sides of the spectrum are not allowed unless they meet somewhere in the middle. You know, so you gotta. And I think a part of it is like people who see you as beautiful also see you as well taken care of too, right? And that can kind of lead to like a sort of respect factor, you know, without knowing somebody completely, right? But for the most part, I find a lot of women, and I don't mean to bash women for this, but I find a lot of women are losing key touch points that would make up their personality because they think of themselves so highly physically, you know? And I think that's becoming a problem.
Let me ask you this. Do you think pretty privilege like leaves the older people get? Or do you think is pretty privilege something that you can pick up midway through your life? Like, what's your opinion on that?
I think there's a natural form of beauty. Yeah. Like, there's natural features a person can have to make themselves beautiful in the standards of society.
Yeah.
And then there's also people who you can visually see work on their appearance, like whether it's style, whether it's makeup, whether it's physique, like fitness. And then there's that form of beauty, right? So if those two things are met, I think you will be considered of that sort, right? But if they aren't, then you're kind of an ugly nigga like us.
First of all, I'm a handsome guy. Don't take that from me.
Don't think that. We're diamonds in the rough, all right? I'm not trying to get it twisted, all right? We're that nigga. But the competition is getting steep, I'm not gonna lie.
100%. We're at the bottom of the barrel, bro.
I'm not any way near Michael B. Jordan in any way.
Actually, I disagree. I think I'm closer, but I think you're more on the Timothy Chalamet side, you know?
Timothy, I don't even know who that is. That could be a hurt-ass motherfucker.
He's just white. That's the only difference.
Alright, I'll take it. I have no hate for no white folk, man.
Alright, next question.
Alright.
That was good.
So, we'll move on to our next topic, if we will, moderator.
Do long-distance relationships work?
Okay.
Oh, crap.
I want to start this one off. All right.
Go ahead.
I haven't been in a long-term relationship, but I have had situations where there was a significant amount of distance with another person, right? And I'll say this. There's an added level of pressure in a long-distance relationship because there's the factor of the unknown, right? What is this person doing when I'm not with them, right? Yeah. But if you really, truly have built a connection before separation, I think it can work. What's your thoughts on that?
I don't think it works. And let me tell you this, like, by no means am I saying, I'm a cheater, I'm a this, I'm a that. I just think, look at what a relationship is first. The whole point is for you to make a connection with someone and to fill a void that, you know, that you want to like finish, right? For example, like if I get a girlfriend or if I get a wife or something, I would want to be near her 24/7, you know, and that not to say 24/7 always, but I would want to be in close proximity with her because I would want to have access to her all the time. Maybe, you know, we can go watch something. Maybe we can do this. Maybe we can do that. The idea of someone being so far away from me that I don't have access to them, I think it defeats the purpose of what a relationship is. I think you end up feeling lonely within your own relationship.
I disagree. And you know why I disagree?
Go
I think, like I said before, like let me give you a scenario, right? You're with your partner, significant other, for 10 years, right?
Okay.
And then after the 10-year mark, she gets a lifetime changing opportunity elsewhere that you cannot come with her with.
Sure.
Right? And she gets, she accepts that position elsewhere. She's getting settled somewhere else, right? It's not that you're not together anymore. You can still see her throughout the year.
I agree.
You can make time for each other, right? But to throw away those 10 years because somebody wants to progress in their life, don't you think that's a little selfish?
No, I agree with you there, but I think it's different when it's a relationship that's already 10 years in. I'm talking about like beginner stages. Like you can't, in my opinion, it's very hard to start a connection with someone right off the bat with a long distance. Like off the bat, there's nothing really consolidated yet. Like you guys are not other than the fact you guys are courting each other, you guys are not really a thing yet,
And
but
to add to that too, before we even continue, I think some of it is like false realities too, because you won't want to show your flaws online.
Of course, yeah. Like you're showing, like, I feel like we talk about this every episode. But it's like you're showing a highlight reel of everything amazing going on in your life.
Social media podcast.
Like you're just showing the best parts. So I could be funny like this. I can be this. I can be that. But then when you actually see the person. And they end up being a catfish of some sort, like not in terms of their physicality, but maybe like in their hobbies or like maybe habits that you never really considered in a significant other. Like
morals,
I think those things can really turn you off. But if it's a relationship that you already been in for a long time, I don't think it's the end of the world if you guys kind of for momentarily kind of lived far apart from each other, because there's already that strong connection that's not willing to break, But if it off the bat, I'm talking to a girl in Somalia.
Yeah.
Like what do we have in common for me to
What are the odds that could work to you? Just give me, if you could give me like a rough percentage.
Like off the bat,
meeting somebody across the planet online and developing a relationship. I mean, like that will eventually lead to you guys coming together. But like, what are the odds do you think of that working?
Finding someone across the world, fine, but living constantly far away from them for an extended period of time at the beginning stages is a no. Like, don't get me wrong, I'm not opposed to finding someone in England.
I know you said you would never do it, right? But what are the odds to you of that situation of working out?
It's like a 50-50, bro.
50-50? So there's a 50% chance that would work out then.
Yeah, but there's...
So I don't know, I mean, like for me, it's less than that.
Yeah.
I think it's like a 25% chance.
You're advocating for it. I'm the one.
I'm not advocating for it. I think it could work situationally if there's a connection built beforehand, but meeting somebody online and then building a connection that's strong enough for you guys to come together is a lot harder than it seems, especially with the fact that a lot of people don't want to show their flaws online. Like if you're somebody who snores, right? How are you going to bring that up in conversation online?
I don't think that's a deal breaker.
I mean, it's not a deal breaker, but like that's something that you would know right off the bat.
Disgusting. What if somebody is not kept for it?
Yeah,
what if somebody...
exactly. Something like that. If it's even like if we want to get down to like the actual personal flaws, like what if somebody doesn't respect like service people?
You can't find that across the planet.
What if somebody doesn't tip?
Yeah, and to that point, I'm not saying me personally, but a lot of people are in relationships because of the closeness that they get. Like, like that. The whole wanting to be whole with somebody.
I also think that people are getting to relationships nowadays for status sake too. It goes back to the pretty privileged conversation. A lot of the people who are strictly just personality is their looks are getting into relationships with people who have personalities who are just based off their looks as well, and they don't ever work out. So and those people are meeting online, right? Because they're just two of the most beautiful people linked up. And then it just goes to shit, right?
I think also cheating is way more prevalent in this type of situation because people cheat because they're missing something in their partner, right?
Yeah.
And if you're missing the whole physicality aspect of your partner, and you see you're in Toronto and every other girl is a 10 out of 10, not to say the girls that are not 10 out of 10s are not 10 out of 10s, but you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like I'm missing this physicality piece that I'm not getting from somebody halfway across the world. Not saying I would cheat. I'm not a cheater, man.
Okay.
Let's get that out there. I'm not a cheater.
You're walking on thin ice right now, man.
But I feel like it's way the percentage is way more, And it's hard to want how do I say this? It's hard to not want that person near you every second of the day when you know that they are a whole pond away from you, you know? Like, I don't know, man.
I agree.
Personally, I'm not doing that. I'm never going to do that ever.
Me too. And I've tried, like I said, like I've had situations where there's been significant distance, and every time I find out that, not find out, but like every time I have this overwhelming feeling that we're not sharing enough of ourselves with each other. You know, like everything is, because I always think of the reality factor of it. 2 weeks, 3 weeks in, I should start to see some signs that are actual genuine personality flaws, you know?
Yeah.
And I believe that I show those too after a certain amount of time too. But
you have a lot of those.
Yo, watch your lip, eh? Watch your lip, bro. But like I was saying, but like you can't see that stuff online, you know? So like you need to see each other face to face for that to be a relevant thing in your relationship. And you need to get over those things too, you know? So like how can you do that if it's just emojis all day? You know?
So you agree?
FaceTimes don't work either, bro. They think you're lying. They think they're lying when they're telling you FaceTime is the way that all these.
Why can't you do FaceTime?
Bro, FaceTime is some bullshit, bro. Like,
why?
Okay. If somebody calls you on FaceTime, what do?
I pick up.
Okay, but what do you do? Like, do you get yourself ready, prepared? You just pick it up when you're sitting in any angle? No, you get up, you go get some good lighting, you know, you go prepare.
Yeah, but
that's also false pretense, my nigga. What if you're just, you know, in the middle of a disgusting room and you move to the next room to take the FaceTime call? You know, like there's things like that.
No, but I feel like, don't get me wrong, but FaceTime really deletes a lot of catfish. Like imagine.
It does. I mean, like obviously, like if you're talking to a display picture for 3 months, then you're on your own.
Which I have.
You're definitely on your own then. Golly.
That's a story for another time.
That's crazy.
You agree though, right?
You gotta at least call them. You know?
I did. I tried.
And what happened?
Picked up.
Leave it, bro. Let it go, man. Shit. Wow.
Her profile picture was so fine though.
It's guys like you, man. Like, you know, like you see you wouldn't cheat. I'm joking still.
Okay, cool. How about next topic?
Okay, so let's move on to the next topic, moderator, if you will.
Should you pay on the first date?
Oh.
This is a touchy topic. You know why?
Why?
Because if I'm taking someone out, well, first date I will pay. Let me just say that I will pay first date.
Sure.
Right? But, and I've learned this throughout time. I am going to observe the girl for the next few dates. You know, and her actions towards the bill will really make a significant impact on the next few times I'll be seeing her.
Sure. Okay.
You know, so yes, I will pay the first time, but there's no free meals with me. Every meal comes with something.
What does that mean?
Not physical.
What does that mean? What does that mean?
Not physical. Obviously not physical. I mean, in every situation or every meeting we have, I'm going to be observing you in a way that you probably don't know. You know?
Sure.
So it's going to judge whether or not we're going to see each other again.
Tell me what that means. Tell me what that means. Like, what are you looking for?
I'm looking for the bill comes. Is there some kind of attempt? Is there any, you know, looking away? You know, is there any, like, you know, those little key things when the bill is present?
Yeah.
I'm looking at those things.
Interesting.
I'm looking at those things and I'm judging your character based off of those.
Okay.
You know?
Can I give my input now?
And the more open she is with me, the better. Because I've had a girl tell me, I don't have this right now. And
That's
I'm like,
fair. That's fair.
Are you kidding me? Let's go.
Yeah.
I took you out. Let's go. You know, it's all good. But if you want to hide that and just get a free meal off me, I'm a no.
Let me keep it 100. Let me keep. Did you do the eye thing? Let me keep it 100.
Yeah.
So me personally, when it comes to a first date, I will pay.
Mm-hmm.
However, I believe that, although I wouldn't personally do this myself, but I believe the person who asks for the date should be the one who's paying.
That's a good rule to have.
Like if the girl asked me, which never happened before, not even lie to you, but you know, if a girl asked me, she's the one who's gonna pay.
Okay.
If I was the one who initiated the date, I think I should be the one who's paying. It's the person who asks the other person, because they're saying, hey, would you go out of your way to go on a date with me, which I'm willing to cover, you know?
Okay.
But don't get me wrong, I feel regardless of who asks who, the first date should always be the man, you know? That's the first one. But in my opinion, I feel like the first couple of dates, until, you know, you guys are actually consider each other, liking each other and fascinated with each other's like existence, I think at that point the guy should be the one paying it. But when you guys get to a relationship, and it's a little bit more on the serious side.
Yeah.
You know, don't get me wrong. I'm willing to pay all the time, but I would love if you're able to sometimes, you know, if I'm at the washroom one time, not wait for me to be the one who be like, oh, the waiter's here, could you pay?
I also very much like, and this has happened to me many times too. Like I'll go out and then I'll be like, I got the bill, and then the person I'm with will be like, okay, let me get the dessert, you know, or let me get this, or you know, like let me get the movie ticket or some shit like that. I really very much enjoy that.
But I also believe, and I may be a little old school about this, like I really think the man should be, and I feel like you may disagree with me on this, the man should be the one who takes care of the woman, you know, and that may be a little like controversial. I just feel like when it comes to a relationship, when it comes to courting at the beginning, I feel like a man should be the one who's willing to take care of the girl. And
I agree.
Like, you know, like those, like dates and everything. It's like especially when it comes to a marriage, like, I know I'm getting too far away from the topic, but I feel like the man should be the one taking care of the woman. And I'm not opposed to covering the bills and covering like the initial dates, but I would really like if, you know, it'd be a good surprise once in a while for you to be like, yo, I'll cover this, you know, don't worry about this, I got this, you know, here and that every now and then.
How much times, if you were to scale it from a number from 1 to 10, how many times would you like that for that to be the case?
Like one out of every 5 dates.
Okay. I
you
feel
know?
you.
Like,
so you're okay with taking the bulk of it all, but
I'm okay.
You just kind of want some input here.
I'm okay with taking, like, I get my role as the man in the relationship, and I may be a little old school, but the last thing that I ever want to happen to me is a girl going on a date with me just for a quick dinner, you know?
Yeah.
And I'm not gonna lie, that happened before. That ain't happening again, you know? Okay. And that's like a number one thing where I'm like, and you can kind of tell by the way that the date is going. If she's like, if the girl is on the date and she's not really into the conversation and she's on her phone and she's not willing to really engage, and I'll be like, all right, bet, cool, sounds good. I'll pay for that date and block you. Never talk to you again.
Yeah.
You're not getting this out of me again.
I also don't like when the guys are like, all right, then I'm not paying for your side at the table. I always see those videos, you know.
I think that's a little weird. Like, regardless of if she said yes or no, you're the one who asked her.
Yeah.
The date is your responsibility. For you to just randomly say, hey, I'm not covering this, I think that's a little, that's weak.
That's childish.
Just pay, never see her again, and hope the worst for her, you know?
Yeah. At the end of the day, like, you already lost out. Like, why do you want to make it worse?
Facts.
You know? So
we're on the same page for this.
Yeah. So the guy should pay the first date.
Facts.
Okay. All right, moderator, I think we're ready to move on to the next topic.
Would you allow your girl to have a guy best friend?
Oh my god.
Hell to the no. Hell to the no. We're assuming this is a straight male friend, right? Assuming this is a straight male friend.
Yeah.
Hell no.
Why?
Because I know niggas, bro. I know niggas, man. Even if they're not trying to move to her, they're not trying to slide to her, trying to be respectful, there's gonna come a time where that guy sees the girl and says, "What, man?" and try something. I don't know when it will be. I'm not waiting for that day. I'm not even attempting to get near to that situation, so we're gonna dead it up right here, right now. And I'll do the same. Like, I have female friends. If I get into a relationship, they'll know what it is. Like, I'm sorry.
So you'll cut off your female friends?
Yeah. And
you don't want your significant other to cut off her guy friends?
Either cut off, or we can all be friends together.
That sounds weird.
That's it. Like, we either hang out all three of us, or we hang out none of us.
I got you.
That's what I think.
All right. Controversial. I think it's possible for a man and a woman to be friends. Under
you think it's God? You think that's right?
Under certain conditions, though.
Okay.
So, like, let me keep it 100. I would be super uncomfortable if my wife or my girlfriend had a guy best friend. Right off the bat, I would be super uncomfortable. Because I know what it's... I had this conversation with the girls so many times. I know they always say, oh, if something would have happened, it already happened.
That's
or
a lie.
If like...
Both parties are holding back, but that's another topic.
100%, exactly. But, the point I'm making is, I know what it's like being a guy. And I've talked to the nastiest of guys, and I've talked to the most innocent of men. And regardless, there's always something that's similar about all these men, and it's the fact that every guy has a disgusting mind, regardless of if they're a God-fearing man, or they're out on these streets. You know, maybe some men are better capable of hiding it.
Yeah.
Maybe some men are more open about it. You know, but regardless, dudes have a mind where it always goes to physicality. You know?
Yeah.
And regardless if you consider this your close guy friend.
That's what they say when they're like, guys think with their dick.
Yeah, if you consider yourself a close guy, like if she considers you a close guy friend, that's probably because you got friend zoned, my guy. Let's keep it 100.
Exactly.
Let's keep it 100.
That's another huge thing too. Like the girls are in charge of where the friendship goes. You know?
Exactly.
So if you're her best friend, she's your best friend. You're not her best friend.
100%. Like and to be real, that's probably because you started out wanting to be with her, but then you got friend zoned and you're waiting for your chance. Where there's a little creak and like, hey.
A lot of niggas are like
I've been in those situations.
A lot of niggas are like this still. I'm not gonna lie. That's why I fear having that.
It's impossible.
I think it's a ticking time bomb waiting to happen, but this is the thing. Like I said, if we can all be friends together, then I'll invite that. You know, like if we're a couple and we're hanging out with her male best friend, all three of us, then I'm gonna be I'll be on guard. But we'll have fun.
Yeah, no.
Yo, you're this fork a little weird, eh?
No, but I'll let me share a personal experience. Like, weirdly enough, I've always had close girls who were always friends, right?
Yeah, same.
And like one of them is currently engaged at the moment, like right now. And I've noticed a shift in our friendship where, like, we went from I considered her like one of my closest of friends. And now that she's engaged and she's getting married next year in like summertime, she's kind of slowly but surely, our relationship kind of got more distant.
Yeah.
And the fact is, I totally respect that. You know, like out of respect for her dude, who I've met, it's like I totally get it. And I wish you the best in whatever your future relationship looks like. You know.
Yeah.
And I know me being a man and me having this mind of mine. That's the precautions that you took in order to kind of keep your relationship a little bit more steady, you know? I respect that, you know? And I would really want my significant other to kind of take that same route. Is it impossible to be friends with the other sex? No.
I don't think it's impossible. I just think it's super difficult.
Yeah. Should there be restrictions on that? 100%.
I agree.
You like, a girl and you are not going to get along. Like, not say get along, but you're not going to be as open with a girl as you are to me. Let's keep it, unless it's your significant other. Keep it real, you know?
Yeah.
And it's at that point, you're going to have to be like a sacrifice for your current partner, you know?
But I also think that there's, and correct me if I'm wrong, I also think that there's a different type of friendship you can have. If you are having a friendship with a girl and it's just that, I think that there's different. If you value that so much so that you don't care about the person's relationship, then you're just pretty much shooting yourself in the foot, you know? Because like there's so many women out there, you can gain closeness and different layers of friendship from women everywhere. It doesn't have to be with somebody who's tied into a relationship, you know? So I think a lot of it has to do with the third party. If they have attachment issues, then there's definitely a red flag, you know? Like, because this happens too. Like you get close to somebody and you start to form a relationship with them, and then your friends from the other sex get upset for some reason or like start to move weird, you know? That's happened to me a couple of times too, where I'm in a relationship and I'm talking to my female friend about the girl that I'm seeing, and I just don't see that excitement. Or
bro, you want me to keep it 100? You know what it is? It's because she always liked you being available. And
my thing is like, there's got to be some kind of transparency in a male-female.
There's no transparency.
There's got to be. There's got to be.
There's no transparency.
Like, there's got to be.
You can never go to a girl and say, I'm physically attracted to you and still be friends with her. Like, at that point, it's broken.
I'm never going to keep up a relationship with somebody who I physically want or I want to be my significant other, knowing that they don't want that. I can't do that. I don't know how people do that. That's just a foreign concept to me, you know? But if I am truly friends with somebody and they are a female and they're attractive as well, and I know I don't want to pursue them in that way, I'll tell them. I'll be like, yo, you're just my dog, you know? Like,
not a lot of people like that, bro. Keep it 100 with you. Not
a lot of people need to grow up, man. People need to grow up. Just tell them straight up, like, yo, like, of course people are gonna like, cause like obviously they're gonna be thinking it, you know. So like you might as well get that, you know, like elephant out the room.
That elephant is what will prevent the relationship from continuing, man. The second,
that's the problem.
Like some friendships, man, are so one-dimensional.
Yeah.
That if you admit something, it's it. You know, like, and that's, I feel like most girl and guy relationships are like that. Like if I went up to a girl in the past that I was friends with and I was like, yo, I physically like you, it's either we get into a relationship or she doesn't see me that way and we go our separate ways. Like, personally, for me, I can't continue being friends with someone who I've told them that I like, and now we're just faking it friendship. Like, you know,
I agree. I think that's just weird. I think that's weird. And on the flip side of it too, I think when you are friends with somebody and you've already established the fact that you're just friends, and then that person gets into a relationship, it's weird for you to be upset at that or like feel a way about
you wanted something.
I mean, I see that happening on the female side a lot. Like they're like, oh, what makes him think he can get a relationship now? Even though we're just friends.
It's because she liked the idea of you always being available.
I personally think that it's not even that. I personally think that some of these girls just like having guys like them.
That's what it is.
Like it's not. It's a little weird. It's like, you know, like you want people to be drooling over you, for what? It's kind of using people, you know.
That's right. There's too much.
Pretty privilege. Pretty privilege.
Okay, next topic.
All right, on to the next one.
Would you feel comfortable with your wife being the breadwinner?
Hell yeah. Hell, cha-ching. Bring it home, baby. Let's do it.
Okay, you go. You start.
Hell yeah, man. Are you kidding me, bro? I'll be her biggest fan. I'll be rooting for her. I'll go to every company meeting that she's doing, fam, and be like, that's my wife. Are you kidding me? I'll be a stay-at-home dad. Like, I'll do everything, bro. I'll be super supportive to that, 1,000%. Especially if it's my wife. Are you kidding me?
Nah, you know the thing is, like, I thought about this recently. Where I'm like, if my wife is making enough for both of us for me not to worry about money, would I be comfortable staying at home, taking care of the kids, taking on like the housewife type of, you know?
Would you want to be a stay-at-home dad?
You know, I'm not gonna lie. The idea doesn't sound too bad, but something else that fundamentally in men that would really hurt me is the fact that I'm not taking care of my family. I think that's
financially.
Yeah, no, just the idea. Yeah, financially being one of them, but finance is a big component in taking care of people. Let's keep it 100.
What else do you mean by taking care?
I feel like if I had my wife taking care of me, it's like I'm kind of breaking the pact that I married her for. Like, you know, you know how we're both Muslim, first of all. You know, when you marry your wife, it's kind of under the pretense that you're going to give her a life better than what her dad provided for her.
Okay.
I kind of feel like I'm failing that oath and I'm not...
But she is getting the life she wanted.
Yeah, but it's supposed to be through my sustenance, you know? It's supposed to be...
Who said that?
I feel like that's the role that a husband should have.
I disagree heavily.
You think so?
I disagree heavily. I think money is a tool to bring happiness in the household. And I think if you can maximize that as much as possible, the happiness in the immediate household will grow. The only taxing part about it is the person making that amount of money might have to take a lot of the pressure from like societal pressure and stuff like that. Like I wouldn't want my wife to come home stressed from work.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I would much rather me be the one stressed from work than her. You know what I mean? But if that's the case, if she's making significantly more than I could make, then all I can do in that space, in that position, is to make the home life better, right?
It makes sense. Like I agree with you. And I thought about it up until like a few years ago. I was like, yo, why can't she be the breadwinner?
Yeah.
But then I'm like, at the same time, I would feel less of a man because...
Nigga, go buy a drill, bro. Like, shit. We'll make a table. Like, what the hell do you mean, less of a man? You're getting your bills paid for.
No, it is.
Girls are top dog.
I feel like the role of a man should always be kind of like...
Nigga, buy a gun.
Shit. Be a gun holder.
At this point, man, like, you can't live the fairy tale life, bro. Like, you know, you gotta have some sort of reality.
Would I be comfortable with my wife being the breadwinner?
Bro,
I would love if my wife succeeded. Don't get me wrong. I'm not out here saying that I wouldn't want her to succeed. Like, whatever she chooses for herself, awesome. If you're making a lot of money, awesome. At the end of the day, I would still want to be bringing in money home. I'm not like, I'm fine with my wife making more than me. Like, I'm not out here insecure about that. But at the end of the day, like what solely her holding that financial burden, I don't think that's right. I think I should, in some shape or form, support the bills.
What you're saying is true, and I'm sorry to cut you off too, but I want to share a small little story. I've been into like conspiracy documentaries and like all that shit. I love that shit, right? Okay. So recently I started watching this documentary called I Love You, You Hate Me. And it's about the Barney the dinosaur story. Okay. How the lineage of that came about, right? Mm-hmm. Very specific to it. It's very relevant to what we're talking about right now. There's a woman who was just a housewife. Her husband made all the money, they had kids, and they were just in their household. Her little son wanted, he liked watching shows on TV, like kids shows and stuff like that, but there wasn't anything along the lines of educational and fun aside from Sesame Street, right? So she said, I'm going to create my own character named Barney the dinosaur, right? So in her home, she made stories about Barney the dinosaur and all his friends and, like learning, counting ABCs. And she made it very educational, which was very different at the time. Like the only show that was doing that was Sesame Street, I guess. And there was all the other shows were like just a bunch of colors and a bunch of like loud noises and like, just like chaos for kids, essentially. She creates Barney the dinosaur. It blows up. Sure. Like a sensation. This is like one of the first few viral things ever. They get so rich so fast, right? And the dad, she starts to become like this crazy like businesswoman, right? Starts going around the country and stuff, making lots of money. Mm-hmm. The dad becomes a stay-at-home dad, right? Mm-hmm. Because of that, right? He has to. Time goes on, the kid grows up, and he moves on to do his own stuff, whatever. The dad becomes depressed, right? Because he doesn't feel like he is putting in his weight in the relationship. Okay. And then a couple of more years go by, they divorce, and he commits suicide.
Oh crap, okay.
Right? And this is all stemming from kind of what we're talking about, right? Mm-hmm. He felt his role diminish over time. He built this whole family, like the nuclear family, wife stays at home, takes care of the kids. I go out and break my back, bring home the paycheck. We have a house, everything is good. And then all of a sudden, his wife just prospered randomly overnight. Okay. And that was so overwhelming for that guy that he had to commit suicide. Damn. I think that what you're saying is true. I think that a lot of men start to feel less masculine in a sense, mm-hmm. when they're not the breadwinner. But I think along the line, you start to miss the real key point or the blessing that you're getting, at least, is the fact that you don't have to worry about finances. You should be mending your relationship. You should be making your household the best it can, the best version of a household that it can. And you should be making your marriage try to last as long as it possibly can, right? I think that's why I said originally I would be my wife's biggest fan, because that way she has support in her business. She has support in her day-to-day life. She's not feeling as pressured. And I can still feel like I'm connected to the money that's coming in, So I think that's kind of the best way to put it. But
no, I feel you. It's just like, don't get me wrong, like, first of all, that story's hella sad.
That's wild. Like, Barney the dinosaur, nigga.
What a happy, like, cartoon for it to kind of have, like, a scary...
And it gets darker than that, but I don't even want to go into it.
But to that point, it's like, mm-hmm. Can I have my wife being successful and doing awesome and having all this? Like, of course. Like, I want her to be happy in whatever shape and form that looks like, Mm-hmm. If that's making a ton of money, having, like, an awesome business, if that's doing whatever form that brings in a lot of money, mm-hmm. that's better for us, More mm-hmm. money, more power for us too, But if I am out here kind of not doing anything with my life, and I'm not saying staying at home and take care of the kids is doing nothing. By no means am I saying that. Mm-hmm. But if there's a little component of mine which I feel that is added to that, being, am I taking care of my family as well? And that sometimes for most of us, immigrant families, that's financial. Like,
well, do you feel like as a man you have to make money in this world?
I do.
I disagree.
I
disagree.
I think that's important.
I think as a human being, man and women, you need money to survive.
Of course.
But I don't think making money is the sole purpose for men. I don't think so.
It's not the sole purpose, but do you know why it's very much included in what being a man is? Because in this day and age, a man should be able to protect his family.
I agree.
And protecting family sometimes has that financial aspect in it, you know?
I disagree. I think
come on, it has to have the financial aspect.
Fam. At the end of the day, if you're the breadwinner or not, right?
Yeah.
The financial decisions are still going through you, right? If you're making all the money or if you're not making all the money and you want to move all of a sudden, you're gonna run it by your wife.
Yeah.
So then you're it's not just all on you. You know what I mean?
It's not all on me.
Yeah.
It's just the idea that I'm not the main financial guru in my family. I'm not gonna lie, it kind of taught me.
I think that would. I don't know. I don't think that would touch. That wouldn't significantly impact me.
I will get over it, of course. I'm not out here saying I'm insecure that my wife is making more money than me. Of course, I would love that. You know, do what you gotta do. Make as much money as you want. Be happy with it.
But you would feel like a little useless?
No, but if all I'm saying is if there's no money coming in for me, even if I had like a part-time job at ESO, you know, I'm not saying that's a bad job. It's just if I had any form of money coming in that I can support with gas or something, like I just want to be of support, you know?
If you're not needed though, what's the point?
I don't know,
if all you can bring in is 50 bands and your wife is bringing in 3 mil,
there's so much.
Why does your 3 bands matter?
There's so much stay-at-home mothers who are having a successful virtual job.
Well, this is the hypothetical is that your wife makes significantly more than you, right? So if she makes the bulk load of the money, then your money isn't that relevant.
Okay.
So your gas money, she got that already.
Let me ask you something else.
She already got that.
Let me ask you something else though.
Okay.
And this is kind of an old school kind of mentality. Tell me if you agree or disagree. Your money is your wife's money. Her money is her money.
I agree.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we agree on that.
Yeah.
So if she's working, right, and she's making all this money, it's her decision to say if she wants to support the family financially. How do you feel about that?
What do you mean? Is she not gonna?
No, it's because it's her decision. Because
what
it's
is the
her
alternative?
money. It's her. Obviously, a mother will always want to support her family. Don't get me wrong, but at the end of the day, that's one of her rights that was given to her in marriage. Being her money is her money, and she can decide what she wants to do with her money.
Yeah.
And your money is your family's money because you're supposed to support your family, right?
Yeah.
So if you're not bringing in the money, then you're voided.
What do you mean you're voided? I don't understand.
Like you don't have any money, so there's nothing to support the family. But if she's making the money, going by that same concept, it's her money. She gets to decide what she wants to do with it. If she doesn't want to support the family financially, that's a choice that...
Then why are we together?
Because y'all got married.
If she's not trying to support us financially, how the hell are we going to stay together?
But that's the whole concept. So your money is your money.
You can't be in a household if no one... Like, if I'm making all the money...
Yeah.
And I have a wife and kids at home, there's no... I can't make the decision not to support them.
No, but that's your role as a man.
But she can't do that either. If she's making all the money and there's a husband and kids at home, what human being is going to say, fuck them? What human being is going to do that?
Do you agree or disagree?
That's a moral decision, and no one would make the opposite
I
decision.
agree with you, but at the end of the day, that's the concept that's set in stone.
Yeah, but I don't think you're not losing anything. Even that mindset, right? The mindset that you just described, the man brings home his money, he has to share it with his wife. The woman brings home the money, she doesn't have to share it with her husband. I feel like that just pertains to like spoiling gifts, making an extra little bit of happiness.
Disagree. No.
I mean, like, bills have to get paid whether you like it or not.
Yeah.
Like, nobody wants to pay bills.
But
you have to pay bills.
The point is usually
but the difference is, like, if you're the breadwinner, right? And you know your wife really likes getting flowers.
Yeah.
You're probably gonna buy her some flowers, right?
Yeah.
But if you're not the breadwinner and your wife is the breadwinner and you like flowers, she's not obligated to get you flowers. I don't think that.
It's not a gift thing. It's not a gift thing.
I think it's the extracurriculars, right? Because at the end of the day, the bills have to get paid, the kids have to get fed, the house the necessities have to be taken care of by somebody. That's not a choice. I think the choice comes in when you want to live a certain lifestyle.
Yeah.
You know, as a stay-at-home mom, as a stay-at-home dad. That's when it's like...
I disagree.
Big up.
I disagree.
Get your own money.
What did you say?
I said get your own money.
No, but on a serious note, it's like... And I like a closing remarks with this. It's like... Am I comfortable with my wife being the breadwinner? Of course. Like, make your money. do you. I'm happy with you being happy. If your happiness is correlated to whatever you're doing, I'm all for it. I'm your biggest fan, you know? But if she's taking on the whole financial burden, I don't know if I feel comfortable with that. Because I feel like my role as a man is kind of diminished because I'm supposed to take care of my family, and taking care of your family is a financial aspect of it. I know you disagree with it.
Explain it to me without it sounding, because I see it as selfish. And no disrespect to you, but I see what you're saying as very selfish.
How so?
Like, oh, she's making all the money. I'm not making any significant additions to this family financially, so I'm mad. That's what you're saying to me.
I'm not mad.
You're saying it's rubbing me the wrong way that I can't pay for any bill here.
No.
That's what you're saying.
That's not what I'm saying. That's not what I'm saying.
And at the same time, you're forgetting that you have a huge task to be a stay-at-home dad.
No, what I'm saying is, when you think of your dad and your mom, right? Who is the one working?
They both work.
No, but when
growing up?
Yeah, growing up.
And my dad.
Your dad, right? So was your mom a stay-at-home?
Yeah.
Was your dad bringing in all the money? In my opinion, I feel like that right there made your dad feel like a protector. Agree or disagree?
Irrelevant.
Why is it irrelevant?
Because, to be honest with you, like I said from the start, the bills have to get paid regardless.
Yeah.
Take your feelings out of it. That's how I feel, truly and honestly. Take your feelings. Like, who gives a fuck what role you think you should be in? You know what you should do it. Simple. That's it. You gotta get your feelings out of shit.
Yeah, you piss me off, bro.
I'm just saying, man. You can't have expectations for yourself in a marriage. You have to go with the flow. You have to go where the marriage takes you. You know, like you can't tell yourself, yo, I'm gonna be.
Yeah, but it's your haq to know that you're the protector. You know. And
physically, you are still.
And women
if
are
a robber
built,
comes in a crib, no matter how
built.
much you're making, no matter how much he's making, you're still
no,
going to be
that.
the one.
That's one of the. Remember, I said components. That's one of the components of being like a husband.
But isn't that the real form of protection?
No, protection is not just something that rarely happens. So protection usually comes in like taking care of somebody's day to day. Like realistically, when are you gonna? It's gonna happen all the time. A robber comes in and you have to step up. That's not always the case. Usually,
financial security is not protecting your wife. Man.
Yes, it is.
No, it's not.
On everything, it is.
Getting your bills paid?
Yeah, because we live in a world where in order to live in a good home, have food on the table, take care of the family.
It's doing your job.
Doing your job is financial security for your family.
I don't think that's a form of protection, fam. I think that's necessity. I think that everybody needs to do that no matter what. And same goes for the actual physical protection too. Like, if you're the breadwinner and you make the most money, you pay majority of the bills. That's just how it's gonna go. Simple as that.
To be honest, I don't agree with that. But I would love if my wife made a lot of money. Long story short, I would love that.
Until the day you're like, yo, I can't pay for the dinner. Yo, what's going on? Let me pay for the dinner. Why you gotta always pay for the dinner? Huh? I'll pay the tip.
I would actually love to hear a girl's opinion on this. So if you're hearing this conversation, please put it in the comments because I'd love to hear what you're saying.
Yeah. Would you spoil your man?
It kind of sounds weird too to say that. Not gonna lie, it kind of sounds weird.
Just spoil me, you know? Like, I'm worth it. I'm worth it.
Is domestic violence taken serious when it's against men?
Whoa.
This topic.
It's a heavy hitter, bro.
Topic. Let me tell you something. Let me tell you a personal experience.
Damn, we're going right to it. We're going right to it.
Personal experience.
Okay.
I remember there was a time in school where a girl and a guy got in a fight.
Physical?
Physical fight.
Oh, shit.
And the guy was much smaller.
Much smaller?
Much smaller.
Oh, shit.
And the girl knocked him out.
What? In our high school?
No, it was elementary at the time.
I didn't go to his elementary school stuff.
You start. And I remember everybody was dying.
Really?
They were laughing. And I think this was pre the time every man had a phone. It was like 2000 and what is it, like 8 or 7? No man had a phone in elementary school. Course. So this was not taken, like, I feel like at today's age it would have been a different story. But
it would have made memes out of it. Are you kidding me?
But this kid got knocked out.
Yeah.
And everybody laughed. Embarrassment was through the roof. Man couldn't come back.
He didn't come back to the school?
I never came back.
Wow.
My question to you is, if it was the opposite,
he would have got arrested as a kid.
You think so?
Tried as an adult. Death penalty.
So my thing, so to address this now is, I agree with this.
Mm-hmm.
I agree that when it comes to men being physically attacked by women, it's not something taken serious, and actually to the point where it's kind of funny. It's sickening for me to say that.
Yeah.
But it's kind of funny because it's like, going back to our past conversation, a man is supposed to be the protector. He's supposed to be stronger. He's supposed to be like this strong individual that's able to protect his family, right?
Mm-hmm.
But if the man loses to the person he's supposed to protect, it's like you're a failure of what you were meant to be.
I think personally, and to add to that too, I think when there are times where there's a domestic violence victim and it's a man, and the actual person who's doing the violence is a woman, people like to pick and like take out little flaws about the guy that will lead them to believe that that's the reason why.
Facts.
You know, like, remember that one time he he deserves that.
Yeah.
You know, and it's like,
it's like being black. It's like
it's like this weird like feeling of he deserves that. Look at him.
Yeah.
You know, so I think that's kind of weird, and I think that's actually kind of sad, to be honest with you.
Don't get me wrong. I think domestic violence in general is crazy.
Yeah.
Should never happen. Either it be a woman to a man or a man to a woman.
Mm-hmm.
For example, Chris Brown, 13 years ago, he beat the crap out of Rihanna.
Was it 13 years?
13 years ago.
Damn.
We were kids, yeah?
Damn.
13 years ago, he beat the crap out of Rihanna.
Yeah.
And the fact that we seen a picture of how it looked whenever it came out of when she came out of like a police station or something, that picture is always in the back of our head because we know that Chris Brown did that.
Yeah.
And 13 years later today, that's still affecting him. Mm-hmm. Where this man who was supposed to be the next Michael Jackson, was kind of cut short. Like
definitely fell off
all his sponsorships, all his like opportunities, anything at all. Nobody even talks about it.
Definitely.
Other than the fact that he's still an awesome artist.
One of the most talented human beings in the public eye.
That never got the opportunity to fully flourish, right?
Mm-hmm.
So 13 years later today, I think it was like last month or something, he had a AMA award type of...
And he's also made up with Rihanna too. Like, they're friends. The fact
that
they're friends too is crazy.
100%. The fact that, like, I don't know personally, it's just what was reported to me on the media, but the fact that media reported that she forgave him and we kind of still keep this over his head like this, I think that's 13 years later, give the man time to grow.
That's wrong.
But the point that I'm making is 13 years later today, he had a performance that he was supposed to do at the AMAs. 48 hours before, he got cut.
Because of that.
He got cut. Because I'm not saying it was because of that, but all I know is if he was to have his full potential happen, I know for sure that he wouldn't have been cut because he would have been one of the biggest stars of today's day. I think he would have been as big as Beyonce.
Yeah, I think he would probably be one of the biggest artists out.
And by no means, why would an award show ever cut one of the biggest pop stars of this generation, right? Mm-hmm. And going to that point, and I feel like I'm talking a lot, my apologies, but I feel like Blueface and his girlfriend, yesterday she posted a picture of...
She posted the picture?
No, she didn't put... It was like a stream.
Oh, okay.
And she showed the picture of Blueface with two black eyes. And they were laughing about it, bro. And if you seen the stream comments, people were laughing.
And that's another thing too. Like I was saying before, like people are just gonna look at that and be like, "It's Blueface."
Yeah, it's funny. It's like let's destroy this man, and let's make him feel less of himself, knowing that he got beat up by a girl. I think this guy is in a domestic violence relationship.
I agree. 100%.
He's in a toxic relationship, bro.
Let me make this point too, surface level point. I think majority of the domestic violence cases that men are naturally stronger than women, right?
Of course, yeah,
so I think women are disadvantaged, obviously, right? And more so, the domestic violence cases that we see are an overbearing man taking advantage of a significantly less powerful woman. I think that's the kind of the idea people have for domestic violence in general as a society. However, that being said, the other side of it, right? Like a guy could get like pepper sprayed, a guy could get like kicked in the balls, a guy could get like two black eyes, anything. So much shit could happen, and society will still never look at it the same way as women, no matter what. 100%. Even to the point of death.
Bro, we still have that picture of Rihanna in our head, bro.
Yeah.
We all know what she looked like when she got beat up.
I think that's so sad because like I personally believe in rehabilitation. Everybody can be rehabilitated in some way. Some form of rehabilitation can go so far for
people deserve a second chance.
Yeah. So to condemn people years and years and years even later after a mistake that was made, especially in somebody like Chris Brown's eye, right? It's never happened again, right? There's been instances of him obviously acting a fool, but 100%. He's never cranked anyone like that.
I think he got a restraining order with Karuchi, I think.
He learned his lesson, is what I think.
To a degree, yeah.
To a certain degree, obviously, but I think to condemn him and to remove him from certain power moves that he could potentially make today to elevate his career is so wrong.
Bro, the man will never. He is plateaued, and that sucks because he has so much more like talent than most guys out right now.
Even Cardi B too. Remember when she was saying how she said drug men and shit like that? That just went right through one ear, out the other, bro. That's just so
to be
disgusting.
To keep it 100, bro, I think that should have had the same repercussions as something like a Chris Brown. She admitted to the media that she drugged men, took their money, and cut. Vice versa, what if it was a man that said that about a woman?
In jail.
Like, he would have been...
Rikers Island.
Investigated, he would have been thrown in jail. I feel like, don't get me wrong, I'm all up for women being protected, you know? Mm-hmm. Like, by all means, usually it is a man who's in a stronger position, and it's the woman in the weaker position, and we have to protect the woman in this case, right? But I just want everybody to keep the same energy when someone like Blueface is in a toxic relationship and seeing a picture of a man with 2 black eyes, and we're like, haha, look what you're
that shit's not normal.
It's wrong, bro.
That shit's not, no matter where you get hurt from. Like, if you're getting hurt from somebody,
it's 100% wrong.
That person is wrong, and they should face the consequences. Like, that's the underlying fact. Why do we have the law if they're not going to follow it? Facts. You know what I mean? Like, it's just a weird double standard I'm seeing, and the guys that are currently in these situations sometimes might be a little bit too afraid to speak out because of what they think other people will think about them, and that's just so wrong, man. It's heartbreaking, actually.
It's terrible, man. I really wish we as a community came together and kind of supported men in these situations, because it's like, haha, like, really? Are we really going to be laughing at one of our brothers in a situation where they're being physically assaulted?
Exactly.
You know, like if it was in the same case, I'm all up for supporting like a woman in this case. Like, I don't believe any man should ever put his hands on a woman. And I think the same for a woman. I don't think no woman should ever put her hands on a man.
I agree.
You know, like, keep that same energy when it's on the other side.
I agree. It's
not funny that our brother is being attacked with 2 black eyes on his face. It's not funny that somebody like Cardi B is out here telling onto the media for joking purposes in order for people to like her more that she used to drug men.
Exactly.
You know? I think if a man would have faced the repercussions of that situation, a woman should also have to do the same as well.
I agree.
Long story short, don't touch nobody.
Yeah,
keep your hands on yourself.
Keep your hands to yourself. Like, if you're getting into a hot situation, leave.
Facts.
Call somebody. Get out of there, man. Just get out. And if your girl beats you, talk to somebody, bro.
Oh, yo, another random thing. Like, remember when Jay-Z was in an elevator with Solange?
Yeah. And
there was a video that came out with her kind of physically assaulting him. Where was the outrage? Where was the outrage?
Yeah.
I know he probably was in the wrong. I don't know. Maybe he said something wrong. I don't know the context.
He should never have done that.
Yeah. All I know is the video, but there was no outrage, because if it was ever flipped and it was Jay-Z hitting Solange, just so you know, this $500 million man.
Even if Jay-Z was Solange's size and she was Jay-Z's size, he would still be condemned.
He would be. This $500 million. That's the last time I checked his net worth on Google.
He probably had $1 billion now.
Probably had $1 billion now. But this rich man, even he, to some degree, would have been canceled. And somebody of that caliber being canceled, I know would affect his money.
Definitely.
You know
no questions asked.
Like, look at Kanye right now, bro. Yeah. Look at Kanye right now.
It's another topic for another time. All right, so let's wrap this up. A great conversation, my friend. Thank you for another one.
Yo, that's like a real guy, bro.
I tell him how it is, you know? It's the Coffee Break Podcast, everyone. Thank you again. We'll be back next week with another episode. I'm your host, Slim. This is my brother.
Yeah, man.
We out.